I said I was gonna start this earlier in the year, but now I'm starting this later in the year. Who would have guessed? Hello everyone, welcome. This is the third installment of my ramble. Hopefully it's yearly, I don't know. It gets later and later every time. But this is the third installment of my ramble where I look back at some stuff from a decade ago. Of course, I also have one coming up where I look at half a decade ago, but yeah, let's not move forward for the future, okay? Let's stay in the past for a second. This has basically become a series now where I just look back, find stuff that was released or dropped a decade ago, and just to show you that time is fleeting and we are all getting old. There's no stopping it, and you can't undo it. Everything will get old. And can you tell I haven't rambled in a while? Basically, we're all getting old, and I just wanted to showcase a lot of it. Some might have seen it, some might have not, but I do plan to keep this going for as long as possible. If there's possibly one person who might ask why only 10 and 5, if I did any other years, I'd go crazy, okay? I like limiting myself when possible. And dude, what the hell can I do with 2005? Talk about how many diapers I used? Of course there's media to be talked about in that year, but it's more jarring for me personally to hear that 2015 was 10 years ago. Yeah, that'll be the reoccurring statement throughout this video. Okay, I guess we can just start with me. Let's see. What was my life like in 2015? I'll be straight up. Unless I'm forgetting some life-altering event, this year was really uneventful for me personally. What, I was a kid in elementary school? Like, these were usually just your growing years post-elementary school. I will say transferring into middle school life was pretty weird, but that's like all things in life when you do something new. I did try new things, like try out for the basketball team. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that long ago. Made new friends, the usual. I do remember hanging out with certain friend groups a lot back then, but I'm not gonna lie, those first few months of trying to find a group was kind of tough. Though I'd say I did make a lot of friends during intermediate middle school. It was just really hard to find a place to fit in at first because I was introverted and a fucking loser. Yeah, I mean, these years, I don't know what to say when it came to a young kid with no outside life and barely any social media activity. By the way, I was barely on social media for like a half of this year. Well, it's basically only Instagram because that's the only social media I had at that point besides YouTube. But anyway, yeah, I was basically inactive on Instagram for like the latter half of the year. It was pretty crazy. Maybe that's why I probably didn't have a social life, because I wasn't online at the time, which is pretty ironic now. But then again, the only time I was online was playing video games, because of course I was, dude. For a while, that was my social life. I played with friends, okay, it wasn't all loneliness. There might be some stuff I'm omitting from my brain, but we can move on. Life for the rest of the world in 2015, though? There was some bullshit going on here. The first bullet point I have on my notes is penis. Wow, so mature, dude. Speaking of which, Caitlyn Jenner transitions, and now she's been a huge ally in the MAGA movement. Okay, I guess they tolerate you for now. By the way, she also got Woman of the Year in 2015. Man, how time changes. Time really does change a person, huh? Lamar Odom almost died. We were stunned when news broke that Lamar Odom was fighting for his life after being found unconscious in a brothel. Khloe Kardashian rushed to be by his side and then suffered a staph infection exacerbated by the stress. Golly. There's no way this black and blue dress fiasco was from this year. For the record, I have always said that this dress was black and blue. If you think it's white and gold, you're gaslighting me, and I don't want to be a part of the bit. Leave me alone. It's black and blue, goddammit. Charlie Sheen had HIV. I had no idea. I really had no idea. This article is hilarious, dude. Drake wins the internet. From Hotline Bling memes to his feud with Meek Mill, Drake officially broke the internet several times this year. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he still is relevant 10 years later. Then again, 2015 Drake was huge. It was a big-ass peak. It's just now there's different types of discourse when it comes to the boy. For better or for worse. But hey, we'll see how Iceman goes. SNL had a host by the name of Donald Trump. Anyone know this guy? There he is. There's the guy.
Many of the greats have hosted, as you know, this show, like me, in 2004. A lot of people are saying I don't hold grudges against anybody.
Oh.
Like Rosie O'Donnell. Come on out, Rosie.
Sir, as I have told you several times.
There's 3 of them?
You're fired.
Oh, he said it. He said the line.
Who is that? Trump's a racist.
What the fuck?
Sia is here, so stick.
Oh, Sia. Let's go. Holy moly. It's 2020. I'm in quarantine and this just broke my brain. It's November. It's 2020. I didn't know this happened. And then they made fun of him in episode after. Yeah, let's not talk about 2020 right now. Yeah, that was definitely a thing. Speaking of another thing, Kanye also announced his run for presidency in 2020. Oh, it really was his world in the 2010s, huh? The big dance craze of 2015. The whip and the nay-nay. Holy. The whip and the nay-nay, were popular long before 2015, but thank rapper Silento for bringing the dances to the masses, aka your parents. After Watch Me hit the Billboard Hot 100, endless videos of just about everyone doing the dance went viral. You know what else went viral is Silento, because he's going to fucking jail. He's going to fucking jail. If you don't know why, you should probably search it up, but he's going to fucking jail. Super Bowl 49. Dude, it's actually crazy. I think I remember being in intermediate and seeing all the Seahawks fans posting about this loss. Keep in mind that yes, this was the game where they were intercepted at the goal line. Yes, this is why fans will randomly shout that they should have ran the ball. No, Seahawks fans probably will still never get over it. But yeah, this was a huge talking point at school for a little bit. Of course, I wasn't a huge sports fanatic in intermediate school because I was a huge fucking introverted loser. But I did overhear a lot of chatter about the Seahawks at that time. Mayweather versus Pacquiao, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know if I actually was able to watch this fight. I really don't remember much about this fight, to be honest. Like, I'm part Filipino, if you didn't know. I have watched many fights in the past with my Filipino relatives, but I deadass don't remember this fight. I know Floyd won though, so yeah, huge hit on all Filipinos. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm not really a huge boxing fanatic. It's more on the MMA side, if anything. Duke beat Wisconsin for the college basketball championship. Jake, I'm sorry, look away. Frank Kaminsky had forever cemented his status as a Wisconsin Badger legend after his run to the national title. Still can't believe he beat a Kentucky team with Cat and Devin Booker, but hey, that's just college for you. But what a run for the Wisconsin Badgers, only for them to lose to a college basketball powerhouse in Duke. Yeah, being a fan of all Wisconsin sports was pretty rough this year. we need a college basketball game again, man. It's kind of up in the air now, or well, 2K has something in store for adding college teams to 2K or whatnot, but that's just gonna be watered down, probably. Adding on to the fact that EA had to pull out their commitment to making a game, yeah, it's pretty bleak. Like, come on, I just want to bring Hawaii to March Madness. And bring college football on the PC, damn it. And anyway, my bad. Curry won MVP in 2015. Yeah, this was definitely deserved. I was very much into the rise of the Warriors at this time. There's an old Instagram post by the NBA that was hyping up it was, I think, the undefeated Spurs as well as the undefeated Warriors at the time. And the Warriors are this new hot team on the rise, and Curry was just doing all types of shit. Which that league was so good looking back on it, but I think that's just my nostalgia glasses talking. But it's pretty insane how much more dominant they would come in just the next year. That 2016 season will probably be brushed upon next year. Yeah, so when they eventually did win the championship against a LeBron Cavs team that was pretty banged up by the time they got there. Well, Curry played one game. Then his knee fucking dies on him. You can debate this finals for a number of reasons. If players were healthy, did Iguodala deserve finals MVP, whatnot. But I was not mad about the Warriors winning that year. Maybe because it was poorly aged resentment for LeBron leaving. Maybe because there was something new for the league at that time. I don't know, but this was definitely one of the last Warriors titles I'd be happy about for years. That 2022 title was extremely healing for my 2017-2018 resentment for the Warriors, but I probably rambled a little too long about this sector in sports. Look, there have been a ton of stuff that has happened a decade ago, sports related or not. But if you do not know how this series works, we are here to focus on the 3 most important things in life: anime, video games, and music. I mean, what more could you ask for? Money? Job security? Fuck that. With that being said, I don't know how to transition this, so let's just get right into the anime. Okay, this is a little topical, but I'm late to the party like always. But let's get this out of the way first. A little bit of some house rules. When it comes to anime and gaming, I haven't seen a lot of stuff myself. I know the topic of an anime tourist has been brought up again recently, and not gonna lie, some of those stereotypes did fit me for a bit. I wasn't a huge anime fan, but I'd honestly say I've come around to it a lot. Around the pandemic time too, but, to make my case any less worse, I got into JoJo's way before the pandemic, so, as well as other stuff even before that, but we'll get to that later. I think the problem comes with the fact that there's people who either think they know so much about the medium but really don't know anything, or they were like me and hated anime before, but then those people, not me by the way, those people, they realized a huge burst in popularity and then decided, I'm an anime connoisseur now. Like, I get where the resentment for tourists comes from. It exposes a disingenuous passion for the medium. But let's make things clear. Am I a veteran? Absolutely the fuck not. Am I gonna pretend I'm a veteran? No. A video like this is just a way to share my experiences with anime I have personally watched, then maybe run down some names that were released in the same year. I did not consume a lot of these mediums in 2015 unless stated otherwise, because, like a lot of things, I was extremely late to witness these things. With that being said, the ones that I have watched that were released this year is probably going to be quite thin, and that's okay. Also expect a lot of the stuff I consume to be more on the casual side. It shouldn't be too surprising. I've been behind my whole life. Now it's pretty much just a game of playing catch up. Anyway, let's ramble about stuff that I have watched. You know what's sad though? A lot of these animes that I have watched, I haven't even finished yet. It's so sad. Anyway, let's start with One Punch Man. I've already brought this up in my 2019 video because of season 2, but season 1 dropped in 2015, and it was actually one of the first anime I actually did decide to watch when I was getting into the medium around like 2017, 2018. And let me tell you, this shit was hilarious when I first watched it. In the 2019 video, I really only focused on season 2, and I haven't even watched it yet. But season 1 I actually did finish. It was hilarious, the animation was top tier, learning about Saitama and him finding his way into the Heroes Association and wanting to find an equal opponent while not giving a shit about almost every other person that wants to fight him, you know, was also hilarious. Of course, the premise and outcome of a lot of these fights are pretty predictable. I mean, read the damn title. But I think it's that sudden change of expectations that really gets you, because an anime fight is usually 2 dudes battling in an arena, the hero having to overcome some sort of adversity with a super strong enemy. Nope! Saitama wins, LOL. And it's still engaging and interesting. That's what you call peak. Oh, and you can't forget the hard-hitting banger of the first opening. Yeah, a lot of people will say this is the peak of the anime, which I can't deny or agree on since I haven't watched season 2 yet. And season 3 is coming out in like a month and it's already receiving skepticism. I think this is one of those many instances of just read the manga, bro. Just read the manga, bro. Because I would like to continue it, and I have mentioned before that the manga panels are fucking insane. But I'm not sure if it's just the anime fans being super spoiled with season 1 animation, that anything under that is instantly ridiculed, or the animation really took a nosedive. I think if it's the latter, then they just gotta pray and hope season 3 gets the love and care that a lot of other mainstream anime have gotten, because Lord help them if it doesn't. But yes, season 1 will always have a place in my heart as one of the very first anime to reel me in. Speaking of first anime, let's go in a completely different direction with Sound Euphonium. Look, it really makes sense, okay? When I was getting into anime, I was also getting into bands, so the math really added up there. This one, I've been really off and on about it. I'd binge a few episodes, left it out for a while, came back to it, rewatched it with a friend, and still haven't finished it. But I had it noted down that I left off on season 1, episode 11, and in a rare occurrence for a video like this, I decided to actually watch the rest of season 1. I was confused at first, no doubt about it, you know, picking off where I left off, but I still had a general idea, and after watching it through and reading all the episode synopsis on the wiki page, I can now finally confirm that this show is peak. By the way, I do tend to exaggerate a lot of my descriptions, so yeah, sorry if I'm devaluing the word peak, but I do think this show is great, like actually great. It's not only just about band geeks, there's drama, you know, to spice things up, the competitive nature, the desire to improve, be better than what you were before, and to be the best. I mean, I get why there's drama added, it makes it more interesting as a story, and you know, it could be for those who don't really understand the band aspects of this anime at all. As someone who was a band geek, I definitely didn't mind the heavily focused band parts because let's be real, the stuff they played was freaking heat. The stuff they played throughout this anime was freaking amazing, Jesus Christ. And you know, I just love witnessing the process of band practice, even if the way the director goes about some things is quite harsh, but then again, I just let him cook. Of course, the drama is a little exaggerated as it usually is for anime, but I'm not here to say that there isn't drama here and there in a group activity like concert band, or band in general. As someone who has seen it, it's not fun. But I've related heavily to the vice principal, Asuka. Where is she? This lady right here. She's also the vice president of the band, by the way. Yeah, VP. I related heavily to VP Asuka when it comes to situations like these. The I could care less if it doesn't pertain to the band attitude. But then again, I don't know how much of that is all too true, as I've only completed season 1. It's also been mentioned by the main character, Kumiko, that she can't tell if it's a facade or not, and you know, I can't lie, I do like to be nosy here and there, but but most of the time, if it's causing the band to fall apart, that's when it stops being interesting for me. Well, at least in real life. The new band director, Loki, does remind me of my high school band director, if he was more strict, passively honest, and had more hair. I don't know. But yeah, this show is heavily reliant on the characters and how they develop throughout the series. They aren't going to be able to brush upon every single section and individual member in 13 episodes. Hell, I don't even know if they ever will. But the main characters that appear often grow exponentially throughout the season, whether it be old classmates reuniting through school and the need to succeed at a competition, or making new friends. But it's interesting to see how the whole ensemble comes together, tenured veterans or complete first-timers, through drama, conflict, and adversity to create excellent pieces of music. By the way, did I mention that these pieces freaking slap? Also forgot to mention that this is a Kill Annie project. Sounds about right, they've made multiple slappers. Yeah, there's a lot to go over in every episode, and I could probably go on and on about it, but since it's still new in my mind, I just leave the rest to you. If you haven't watched this, I try my best to avoid spoilers most of the time. Hopefully, I don't know, I might blurt out something crucial here and there, but you've been warned. If you like slice of life, drama, or Kanzaban related shenanigans, then it's really good. You know, this was another fun first anime. You know what wasn't a fun introductory anime? Plastic Memories. Dude. Okay, so we've covered multiple different grounds when it comes to first anime. You know, a comedic, epic battle anime, a dramatic slice of life band anime, and an anime that aims to make you suffer. I will say there are a few Reddit threads that express their dislike of the show, some noting the various world-building plot holes, disliking of the main character, etc. And while I can't dispute it the best since it's been literally years since I've watched it, I will say the way I felt when watching it all the way through one summer night made me all kinds of fucked up. Well, I don't know if this is spoiler territory or not, but the main storyline of the main character, Tsukasa, and the eventual ending of his robot companion, I think the name is Isla? Yeah, that was pretty heart-wrenching. Basically, the setting is that this is a futuristic society where people are granted robots, known as Giftias. They're there to help with emotional support and are able to live among humans, yet they also have a very limited shelf life of around 9 years. I know it sounds off a bit of alarms when you read it off rip, but I think it could make more sense if you gave it a watch. You'd think it'd be easier to bear since it's been well acknowledged way in advance that she has to be shut off by the end of the series, but I don't know, the way they're able to build up each other's chemistry before the eventual end is really well done, and still was able to make it pay off in such a very hurtful manner. If they just stayed as business partners, it wouldn't be as impactful. But you know, with the romance developments, of course it becomes more of a, I don't want this to end, even though I know it will end. It brings up thoughts of development, emotions, morality, heartbreak, all that really fun stuff. There's probably more I could talk about, but I don't want to bring myself to rewatch it at the moment. I've already experienced the tears before, and I can save that for another time. I will say this one other anime YouTuber, Kito Senpai, has a really good video going over the anime, and he pretty much conveys the same sentiments I have for the show. I don't know if it's the best emotional tragedy anime or whatnot, but it was a first breakthrough for me, and that's just something you can't forget. Alright, enough sappy shit. You like freaky shit? Shimonetta. Yeah, this is freaky shit. But I won't really talk about it too much because if I went into major detail, I could be sniped from YouTube. I mean, thank you, Safe Search. Basically, it's a world where dirty content is outright banned. And, like I said, without going into too much detail, it shows the underlying problem when it comes to enforced banning or censoring of erotic material and how it affects those who may experience it inadvertently. Underneath the freakiness and the unapologetic antics that the characters get themselves into, there is a form of social commentary. Yes, I am not kidding. Social commentary when it comes to authoritarian control and what people consume, and the possible negative effects it has on society. Yes, there is a real conversation to be had about whether or not pornography should be outright banned. Should porn be banned? No. But it shouldn't be promoted to children either. I know. Hot take straight off the presses. I do think sex education is a way better compromise than to never show them lustful activities. Because what? When they actually become an adult and they don't know any better, shit can get chaotic real quick. But what do I know, okay? I'm not the goddamn sexy time expert. I listen to Weezer and play PS2 wrestling games. I think it's best we don't have a government heavily enforced control over what can and what cannot be entirely illegal. At least when it comes to erotic material, you know, drugs could be a whole different topic. Because, you know, what if Trump or Biden just went, hey, you can't have sex until marriage? Yeah, now what? Yeah, you're shaking in your boots, aren't you now? You're throwing your politician merch in the dumpster right now, huh? No premarital sex? In my America? This is bullshit! But I wouldn't be surprised if some lunatic decided to put that in the law nowadays. This administration is pretty crazy. Crazy, for lack of better terms. And I'll leave it there before the black SUVs come and get me. But yes, there is an actual decent stance on societal problems. Would I suggest you watch it? If you don't want to see sexually charged scenes, then you don't have to. Have I really just had a mini political conversation around the topic of porn? Yeah, welcome to the channel, baby. Want to subscribe while you're here? But anyway, they did end it in a way that would set up for a season 2, but the voice actor for a main character actually passed away. Anna here. And I don't know how Japan is when it comes to recasting, but what I have read, either they don't plan to make a season 2 due to the circumstances, or they could replace the voice actor, but there's just no production plan to continue the anime. But it's been a bit since I've dug into the show. The not continuing the series because of the voice actor's death reason makes sense, but at the same time, I'm sure that there is a fan base and demand for a second season. I don't know, it's just a really sad situation all around. Okay, last one of the watch shows, Food Wars. I mean, I only watched one episode of it, but okay, speaking of freaky, I thought this was gonna be a show where they make good food and it'll make me hungry, but when I saw that the food was making motherfuckers rip their clothes off, I was like, there is no way the food can be that good. But yeah, that was my first impression of the show. I'm sure there are way more scenes where they cook up some delicious looking food, you know, look at Binging with Babish's video on it. But I just had to mention the first episode here because it was so unexpected, and also because it dropped in 2015. Yeah, that's pretty much all the watched animes I have. We can go into the anime that I've heard of but not watched yet. I obviously won't really have much to say since I haven't watched them yet, but I might give a couple thoughts here and there. You know, maybe it'll pop some people if I mention the name. Kuroko's Basket, Season 3. I should probably actually start watching this anime as someone who watches basketball quite frequently. Of course, it's not gonna be the same as what happens in real life, but when the fuck do you expect an anime to be super realistic? Also, anyone remember that scene from Blue Box where the girl's like, see, just like curry, and it turned into those freaking curry edits? I know it's not related to Kuroko, but I just want to bring it up since we're on the topic of basketball and anime. Assassination Classroom. In my high school Japanese class, we had a Japanese school that would annually come visit us for a day, and we'd exchange letters before the visit. One year we had to draw anime or cartoon characters, and one of the teachers drew Koro-sensei. This guy right here, a lovely yellow guy, Koro Sensei. That's really all I know about the show, is the damn smile. This lovely smile. Maybe I could watch it in the future. Your Lie in April Moments? It's a prequel in a sense, showing the childhood moments of the characters. You know, it'd probably be cool to see if you wanted more of a background knowledge of what they're experiencing before the incident. Blood Blockade Battlefront, that released that year. The ending's pretty cool. That's all I know. Why is there a Persona 3 movie 3? Like, is it a third movie for Persona 3? Or, either way, I need to start playing Persona 3 on the gaming channel. Shout out to the gaming channel, by the way. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? This is always such a funny title, dude. Like, what? Attack on Titan Junior High, dude. Bruh. I can't lie, from the clips I've seen, it's pretty hilarious to see the world of Attack on Titan through the school setting. It's way more lighthearted, and if you wanted to see the characters in that light, you'd probably get a kick out of it. I distinctly remember this one scene where Reiner and Thunderbolt were doing their "Are we doing this here, right now" scene, but it's not the same scene that was used for that anime scene. Also, keep in mind that this was released 2 years before season 2. Just stuff like that makes it quite intriguing. And yeah, that's really all I got for the anime section. Now I'm gonna mention some movies since I did this last year. Not an anime, but since I've mentioned Marvel already in previous videos, I'll just give a shout out to Avengers Age of Ultron. Probably the least talked about Avengers movie. Like, it's important and all to the overall story and Marvel universe, especially in regards to one of their best movies, Captain America Civil War. But what happens within the movie is so small in comparison to the 2 movies that followed it. I guess you can call it a bridging type of movie. I don't know. Oh, and can't forget Ant-Man. I already forgot Ant-Man. 50 Shades of Grey. Shout out to The Weeknd. Sky you up, I earned it. The Martian, dude. Holy. I remember watching this in intermediate science class. That's really all I can say about it, to be honest. It's been a while since I've watched it. It's been way too long. I remember Matt Damon needing to grow potatoes. But yeah, maybe I should rewatch this one day, along with Interstellar, since I mentioned that in last year's video, I'm pretty sure. No! 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 I don't know if you know this, but I have a lot of catching up to do. What happens when you grew up in a financially strict Asian household? Inside Out 1? I don't know, I thought this was a pretty cool Disney film. I haven't watched it in a while, but there's 2 scenes that have stuck with me. The one with Bing Bong, the sad one. And you know that one scene at the end where it's like, girl, girl, girl. That one was pretty funny. Haven't watched the second one, but hey. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really plan on watching the second one, but you know, if it's just randomly playing on the TV one time, you know, I wouldn't mind. A Fantastic Four movie. To be honest, I only put it in here because of Miles Teller's line. You know, the one soundbite that's been revived in recent years. Say that again? Yeah, shout out to Miles Teller. And you know what? Shout out to Michael B. Jordan too. I still have yet to see the 2025 version. You know, come to think about it, I haven't really been keeping up with Marvel that much lately. Rivals was cool though, and I heard Thunderbolts was cool too. But yeah, movies in 2025 got me fucked up. But there have been some slappers here and there. I miss out! But now's not the time for that. Fast and Furious 7, never really been into the Fast and Furious series, but this one was definitely huge due to the passing of Paul Walker during filming, and with the huge single, See You Again, but that will be saved for the music section. And to be honest, there are probably way more prominent movies you can name and talk about, but I am really not your guy, especially when it comes to theatrical releases. Like, I need to reiterate again, my bags are shallow. But hopefully one of these gave you some sort of whiplash effect. Okay, gaming time. Last year I mentioned how this was a very transitional period into the Xbox One, since that's what a handful of my friends were playing at the time, or at least were starting the game on. Especially with a lot of the games I'm about to list, as well as GTA 5 finally making it to the Xbox One in late 2014, it would make sense as to why I was now beginning to phase out of the Xbox 360. Which is ironic now because I have an Xbox 360 sitting here right on my desk and my Xbox One is shoved in a box somewhere collecting dust. How life works. But it was still a weird time with it because when I started moving towards the Xbox One, my brother also wanted a game on it. And since it was in my brother's room at the time, yeah, he'd ultimately get the say on when I could and couldn't play. Which was really unfortunate if I was having a good time with my friends, but luckily as I'm older and more of a night owl, I really don't have to encounter that anymore. The only thing really keeping me from gaming now is my sleep schedule and having a life. I'm pushing 30, by the way. I should also mention here that you're probably gonna see sports games, big games. I don't know what to tell you, I'm a casual. Fallout 4! I haven't played this one in so long. I do remember Donkey's video on it, you know, the "oh, I'm the kind of guy," you know, that video has always stuck with me for years. I got a little bit into the story, but I never finished it because, you know, I suck at video games. I remember how big it was that you can add mods to the game. Mods? Available on console? I thought that was so revolutionary. Don't really know the extent of the mods for console, and they probably would have never been able to match what PC could do, but I thought it was a cool gesture. But yeah, the best I got for this is Dunker's video. Oh, and the soundtrack once again, dude. Those old school Fallout songs and the OSTs, woo-wee! They went so hard, and I definitely need to play New Vegas in the future. Black Ops 3. Oh, I can go on for hours about this one. This is, without a doubt, one of the most played games I had this year. And I know that, gee, big whoop, who would have guessed? But anyway, the amount of times I've had playing multiplayer with my friends on this game was almost countless. The jumping exosuit mechanic was always an iffy topic as someone who has played the past Call of Duties, but it was something I made do with as it was a game we were all playing. Dude, I could not shoot for shit, but don't get me started on my safeguard gameplay. I was an objective master. My Katie was so ass, bro. Also, the usage of supply drops. While I know the negative effects it has on gaming as a whole, and I'd probably never buy a single COD point ever again, when I had no other financial burden, they were really fun to open. Especially after I got a cool new weapon or a stupid melee skin. Anyone remember those melee skins? This is crazy, dude. It was stupid and definitely turned into a problem, but it was fun for what it was as a kid who had some cash to spare, I guess, for better or for worse. You ain't seen me do this shit again though. Fuck that. I said it before, but I only save that shit for Fortnite now. I hate microtransactions, dog. But the main reason why this game has stuck with me for so long is the zombies. Oh man, I've always been a sucker for COD zombies, like ever since BO1, but the introduction to so many COD zombies YouTubers, the Easter egg hunting, the development for Chronicles, although that's more towards the latter years of the game's life, this was the most engaged I was with zombies ever. Me and my buddies were so locked in on completing most of the Easter eggs, it would be what most of my gaming nights would consist of. I'm pretty sure we did almost every Easter egg but Revelations. I think it's because some people didn't have the map, and also Shadows of Evil. I don't know, that shit was just too difficult for us. Also the Shangri-La one, that was too difficult for us too. But other than that, it was quite the fun sailing for all of us. Zetsubo no Shima was fucking gardening simulator though. The amount of times we played BL3 Origins, oh my god, holy shit, those were peak gaming nights. Dude, that map was so good we even went to play it back on Black Ops 2. That just goes to show you how much fun we had on that map. And that game mode in general, but, you know. I could really go on about COD Zombies, but I think we should move on. The campaign, I'm gonna be straight up, was pretty boring. It was cool that we could finally have another co-op campaign, and the ending for that first mission was, oh, that was brutal. The robot being the absolute crap out of you, Jesus. But other than that, it was so derived from Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 that I really just couldn't get invested or care enough to finish it. Which is weird because What I Wore was quite far ahead from Black Ops 1, but I didn't feel that disdain then. But then again, I played those games out of order anyways. It was Black Ops 1 first, then What I Wore. Anyway. Yeah, I really haven't cared for any campaign since then. Modern Warfare 2019, you know, it reignited that for a bit, but I still haven't played Modern Warfare 2. 2020, whatever it was. I do have fond memories of Black Ops 3 as a whole though. Watch out for the gaming channel because I do have something in mind for Black Ops. Because Black Ops 1 released 15 years ago and Black Ops 2 takes place in 2025. Yeah, be on the lookout for that. That's gonna be fun. Dying Light. Yeah, I had some good memories on this one. It was another zombies game that I had really fun times playing. It wasn't really for the story. It was mainly just because I played it with my friends a lot. We're just fucking shit up on zombies. It's kind of like a Dead Island thing where the combat gameplay took over more than the main storyline. Personally, I don't know. I don't know if there's any like Dying Light story fanatics here. You know, it was just cool to upgrade my character and be a parkour master and being able to dropkick undead motherfuckers. You know, as well as interacting with the world, especially at night. Holy, that shit was frightening. But yeah, the vibe I got from playing this game, surviving the days with my friends and completing the story is what makes this game feel special for me. I don't know if I can find it, but I took an Xbox screenshot of that building on fire during the story. I don't know. That's really one of the first images that comes into my mind when I think of the game. And also that one Pyrocynical video that's been memed to death. So guys, we did it.
So guys, we did it.
Holy shit, how much more do I have? Rainbow Six Siege, dude. I didn't even know it was 10 years old this year. I played it here and there since it came out, but with the rise of Jinxie in the past year and his Siege content, that really helped in ushering a new era for the game, basically. I haven't really played it recently because I suck at Siege, but it can be fun when you have a full squad. I refuse to solo queue shooter games. I get exposed so quickly. I am a team merchant, and I need to be carried to win. I know you can't do it anymore, or at least I think you can't do it anymore, but the recruit rush was such a stupid fun strategy. Yeah, look at this thing, man. You just gotta see it to believe it, man. But yeah, this game has a very limited life whenever I play it, because one game I'll do decently, and then the next game I'll get the most diabolical beating of a lifetime, and I stop playing for the night. Shout out to Hibana though, and Rook. Alright, I'm so serious. I will have to stop recording right now because like I am feeling hungry right now, and I didn't get to eat after the gym because I need to shower and whatnot. So, I don't know. Either I continue this recording another day, or I will be back after I eat. Either way, I'll be back. I guess clap transition. Okay, back at it. Resume. Still hot. Don't know why. It's October. Also, I accidentally bit the inside of my cheek earlier in this week, and it's still giving me problems till this day. Like, this is the most irritating nuisance I've ever had on my mouth. And I had Invisalign for the past 3 years, by the way. My teeth are too strong, man. Battlefield Hardline. Anyone remember the Gaming Lemon? He's this gaming YouTuber. He'd make like GTA videos, other gaming videos. He had a Battlefield Hardline video that I used to watch a lot. A bunch of other gaming videos that I used to watch religiously at the time, along with like Vanoss and whatnot. Pretty much my YouTuber gaming heroes. But yeah, I only really experienced the game through them. I thought the trailer with the whoop whoop, that's the sign of the police, you know, using that song was pretty cool. You know, the cops and robbers premise looked interesting. You know, heists, stuff like that, like Payday, GTA 5, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, since Battlefield 4, my friend group hasn't really been keeping up to date with the Battlefield series. We played the 2042 beta, but some really weren't rocking with it. And I only usually play multiplayer shooters with friends, so yeah, we haven't really gone back to it. I was watching Jev's Battlefield 6 videos a month ago, and I thought they were pretty entertaining. But that's just because I like watching Jev's videos. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about Hardline. Any focus on this game was pretty much turned on to Black Ops 3. Yeah, you know, the Battlefield Call of Duty debates, is it still a debate? I don't know, I haven't given a shit about COD for ages now. Hey, who knows, maybe the new Battlefield is gonna be better than the new Call of Duty. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be playing it either, but that'll be fun. Star Wars Battlefront, I played a little bit of it. I never really got too deep into it, but I know a couple of friends who have played this for hours and upon hours. Something I did have hours upon hours on is NBA 2K16. Okay. So speaking of other YouTubers, Soft Drink TV, he's a sports gaming YouTuber. He has this video on NBA 2K16 and he calls it the last great 2K game. I don't want to reiterate the points in his videos, so I suggest you check it out whenever you can. But with what he has says, I can't be inclined to argue with it. I mean, I played 2K17 a lot and a bit of 2K18, but there's just a certain vibe with 2K16. The Spike Lee, my career, boy Vic. I really don't remember much of my actual playing time, but I'm pretty sure I landed on the Heat eventually, like how I usually would do. I do remember LeBron randomly being on the Magic next season. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna play with LeBron. So basically, I requested to play in goddamn Orlando, which is hilarious if you know that LeBron never wants to play in Orlando, at least in real life. And you know, obviously, video game logic doesn't always apply. I mean, the parks were cool too, and for Blacktop, they wore their jerseys. They haven't done that in a while. The My Team was simplified, only gold, amethyst, and diamonds. No emerald, sapphire BS that made you think shit was better. Unfortunately, still had a problem with microtransactions, but I've stopped since. And I remember when Curry won the MVP in 2016 and then he became a 99 overall for a little bit. I mean, which makes sense. That was one of the best seasons for him and Golden State. Dude, I played him versus the 96 Bulls and that was some bullshit. Straight up crossing up MJ and hitting threes like it was nothing. Dude, he was so fucking broken. Yeah, I mean, but even in real life, the dude was broken. I mean, he was on another level that season. But yeah, this was one of the last times I was fully invested in 2K. It started to decline every year until I eventually like stopped altogether around 2K19. Then of course I came back with the 2K25 videos, but only because that shit was on sale. You'll never see me buy a new 2K game or EA game full price. Maybe WWE, but even still, I haven't even bought 2K25 yet. If ever. Yeah, I've been so out of it with the WWE gaming space. 2K24 was lit though. Shout out to the Kenny Omega series. Speaking of WWE 2K16. Oh shit. Okay, I definitely had a ton of hours on this game. And if you watch some of the trailers for this game, you'd know that they included the song Victorious by Panic at the Disco. Yes, this was one of my first exposures to the band. So last year, I mentioned 2K15 and how hyped I was for the game since it was coming to the Xbox One for the first time, and my utter disappointment in how much the game was lacking. There were a lot of improvements that I felt were in 2K16 that I was able to appreciate. The new additions to the rosters like Balor, Hideo Itami, Kevin Owens. The gameplay mechanics were better than 2K15, I felt like. I remember when I first got the game, it was like I put Finn Balor versus Cesaro. I think I played as Cesaro, and I did like this crazy swing into the barricade, and I thought, holy shit, this is way better than 2K15. I don't know, the way the mechanic, if you played the game and if you played 2K15, I feel like you'd understand that the gameplay mechanics did feel a lot better than 2K15. Well, if not, then at least it did for me. And if you know, WWE 10 years ago was pretty good for John Cena. Pretty good for John Cena and NXT. But everything else, yeah, that was a rough time. But I do get a hint of nostalgia looking at some of these, you know, gameplay photos or like the, you know, looking at the roster and some of these gameplay in gameplay screen caps. I do get a little hint of nostalgia looking at some of these. I will say it does feel like the graphics feel downgraded from 15, but I feel like that's a thing 2K has been known to do for years now, especially looking at NBA 2K14. Also, 2K16 doesn't have Rey Mysterio or CM Punk, so it's not perfect. But I will say 2K16 Stone Cold Showcase was actually great. I have mentioned this before in 2K24 and I think 2K23, but those showcase modes were fucking awful. They were awful, they were boring due to certain matches not being able to be showcased, you know, because AEW. And the wiping to the real footage made the mode unbearable. But 2K16 had so much more content filled into covering most of Stone Cold's career. WCW matches, ECW matches. Well, I think that was a singular ECW match, but nonetheless, and pretty much every single WWF Attitude Era event they could include, you know, without, you know, obvious omissions from Owen Hart and Chris Benoit. The amount of unlockables you could earn from this mode was plentiful. The detail of the cutscenes were cool. As someone who couldn't experience Stone Cold's career as it happened, you know, being born in 2002, this was such a cool way to learn about what happened during that time. Of course, I had some DVDs and whatnot, but I never really delved into the Attitude Era like this. Plus, I also never played WWE 13. I would go back and watch old programming to try and experience the era to the fullest, but to be honest, I don't even know what they're doing with streaming platforms now. I've just let go of it at this point. You know, I probably could have done it when I had the WWE Network, but like a lot of things, I just never got around to it. Man, the WWE Network, you will be missed, man. Oh, and by the way, the freaking Terminator was in this game. Yeah, holy shit, I almost totally forgot about this. I'm pretty sure I made Arnold WWF champion one time. I am not kidding. He did actually have some pretty sick entrances. Man, I was doing bullshit on this thing. Oh, good times, good times. But is 2K16 the best WWE 2K? No. I don't know, with WWE 2K, I felt it got slightly better with each game, but then WWE 2K20 completely derailed that. 2K24 was a great game, but I haven't been bothered to try 25 as mentioned earlier. Let's just say I had a lot of fun times playing 2K26, as well as playing online with my friends. Oh man. Also, I didn't mention my career because it didn't look interesting. Okay, moving on. Rocket League. Okay, I actually remember seeing those 10-year anniversary mentions when I played the game last time, sometime earlier in the year. Maybe I need another gaming video on it, but we'll see. But yes, I've had multiple videos on this game, whether it be on here or on the gaming channel. It really is a fun game to play with a partner. The amount of winning streaks and bullshit I've committed on this cardball game is way too many to count. I don't really need to say too much on the game since I have the videos to showcase what happens, and the game is pretty self-explanatory. It's soccer with cars. It is so simple, but it works. But happy 10 years to this game. There's a reason it's still relevant to this day. At least I hope. Oh, but if you possibly thought my clips were entertaining, the esports scene has been nothing but cinema. I'm not as well versed as my friend Ruben, you know, Rocket League veteran over there, but he can attest to the amount of fun we had watch partying Rocket League esports. I mean, just look at the best clips and goals of the last decade. If you play the game, it should give you goosebumps. But other than that, I have heard about the whole trading fiasco, which is bullshit. But overall, as a guy who wants to turn the game on and hit some stupid ass goals, yeah, it's a great default when figuring out how to conduct a gaming night with the boys. Yeah, maybe it'll be time to get back on that winning streak soon. JoJo Eyes of Heaven. This was another game that I didn't know dropped this year. Once I started getting into JoJo my senior year in high school, I had a feeling I'd make my way towards the game eventually. During the pandemic, I had a friend who had a PS4 and we were all chilling at his place one day, and I just impulsively said, fuck it, let's try this game out. But I don't remember us playing it because with fighter games like these, it's usually only a 1v1 video game, and there were 4 of us. So, do the math. Apparently there's a 4-player online mode, but since all 4 of us were in person, yeah, this wasn't gonna slide. Which is kind of stupid, isn't it? No co-op mode for story mode, no local multiplayer. Like, being able to face my friends with Joino or Dio would have been sick, but nope. We're stuck to 1 player only. Okay, but like, imagine if it was like Smash Bros where it could be up to 8 players, but on a 3D arena. Oh my god. I'm sure there's limited capabilities with the hardware at the time, but like, come on, that sounds great. I don't know, maybe I'm just too WWE video game brain, but that's really the problem with these anime arena fighters. Too formulaic. Too much 1v1 based gameplay. We need to get more creative with this. We need more multiplayer in this, not just 1v1 shit. But then again, hey, I don't know. I'm not a video game designer in Japan, I guess. So I guess it's fuck me. I guess it's fuck the anime community. I'm sure the campaign is cool though, so maybe I can play it on my own one day. It seems that I can only enjoy my JoJo game solo. Well, there is All-Star Battle, but I heard that's 2-player only. I don't know. Such a shame. But JoJo is still a goated anime. Can't wait to mention Diamond is Unbreakable next year. Mortal Kombat X or 10. This was another game that I played on my friend's PS4. The one thing, and I mean the one thing that has stayed with me for this game is being to throw that old lady in Outwood Markets. But I already mentioned that in my 2019 video because I never played Mortal Kombat 11. But other than that, it's a Mortal Kombat game. I really don't have much to say because that's all I did with the game. I think I main Scorpion. I don't remember if he was low tier or not, but I just thought he's been cool, so why not? I think I fucked with Liu Kang for a bit, but I honestly don't remember. Going back to Jeff though, he was fucking shit up with Aaron Black. Then again, Jeff was popping off with many fighting games. This, UFC, they were peak. And that's all I really have to say about the games I've somewhat played. I guess we can now go into the games I have not played, but I have heard of / wouldn't mind playing in the possible distant future. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I have Metal Gear Solid 3 on Steam. I really should play that soon. I know the order might be a little wanky. I don't know if I should just start from Metal Gear 1 or whatnot. It's very convoluted. I mean, some people say Solid 3 is the first game chronologically, but I don't even know a lick of Metal Gear lore. What do I know? And no one hears a word they say. Has the memory gone? Yeah, if anyone wants to help me on where to get started with Metal Gear Solid, please let me know. Life is Strange. I remember seeing slight YouTube playthroughs of it, but I haven't really delved into it. I'm sure it's probably a good game. I don't know. I saw YouTube. Yeah. Sorry. I'm not gonna give this one too much thoughts because I really don't have any. Witcher 3. It won Game of the Year. Shout out them. Halo 5, duh, of course I've heard of it. Then again, I haven't played since Halo 4. I know, it sounds very sacrilegious to be an Xbox player and barely played Halo. There's a lot of things wrong with me, okay? Bloodborne, people have been asking even begging for a Bloodborne 2. It's practically become its own meme at this point. Will we ever see it? I don't know. I haven't even played the first Bloodborne, and I can't even play it. It's only on the PS4 apparently. Yeah, I don't know. Still, me playing a Souls-like game will probably take ages to complete. Undertale? Yeah, probably one of the most popular games released this year. I know a lot of people probably have fond memories of this game. As someone who hasn't played it, the most I've gotten out of it is the soundtrack. I mean, every gamer has to know the Megalovania, Hopes and Dreams, which that song was mainly through Kenny Omega. Once again, shout out to the 2K24 days. But yeah, I'm sure there are countless other people who can give a tribute to this game way more than me. You know, maybe someone who's actually played the game. You know, I just thought it was just too big of a game to omit. Minecraft Story Mode. Dude, did Undertale make this? They did. They did make this shit. Oh my god. Look, they cooked with the earlier Walking Dead video games. Those always will have a special place in my heart. But let's be real, most of the Telltale games is a prime example of the illusion of choice. But the only thing that pops up in my mind with this freaking game is the pig dying and then turning into a goddamn pork chop. Like, dude, come on. What? Why? Oh my god. Like, why? Like, why? Like why? This is, thank you, Jimmy Fallon. Like, why? Like, I get it. It's, you know, it's probably a very emotional scene. I don't know the connection between the two, but like, come on, man. Anyway, let's move on. Let's just get out of here. Yakuza 0. I actually do have some Yakuza games bought, and I do really want to play them because I just think they'd be super fun. This game being one of them. To be honest, I don't know much about the Yakuza games either, but then again, you know, according to this video, I don't know a lot of things, okay? I've seen clips here and there, and I still can't understand what the fuck this game is for the life of me. But one thing that is true about this game, it features the iconic Baka Mitai. I know it's not the only time it's in here, it even dates back to Yakuza 5. But when I hear to mention Yakuza 5, it's Yakuza 0's turn. And hopefully I play this game soon because I feel like I need to have this game under my belt, along with a lot of games, dude. I am... This is why I have a gaming channel now. I mean, it's been a bit inactive, but trust, I'll get some gameplays out there eventually. Just Cause 3. I think PewDiePie played this and I thought it was pretty funny. Or, well, I think it may have actually been a Donkey vid. The PewDiePie video I was thinking of was Just Cause 4, I think, but they both played Just Cause 3, and knowing those two YouTubers, of course the video was pretty chaotic. Who's Your Daddy? You know, the game where you control a baby, and you try to kill yourself, basically. You know, another Donkey classic. Donkey has played this game. The first Helldivers. I have a friend who has been gassing up Helldivers 2 to me so much, so who knows, maybe I'll be playing the sequel very soon. But I don't know, it's been so long between this one and the new Helldivers that I just noticed that it would make sense that there would be a Helldivers 1 in existence. Maybe I'll play Helldivers 2? I don't know. Five Nights in Anime? Dude, what the fuck? This Five Nights at Freddy's fan game is pretty stupid and overly exaggerated, suggestive parody of the first Five Nights at Freddy's. The mechanics are pretty much the same, but as the nights progress you'll find animatronic additions that weren't in the original, and some slightly different mechanics. The animatronics are all girls regardless of what they represent in the official... Okay, that's all I'm gonna read. Yeah, life is strange, dude. Welcome back to Super Mario Maker. Welcome back to Kill the what? And speaking of other sports games and soft drink TV, Madden 16. He has a video on this game and he seems to like it, but specifically in comparison to modern Maddens, but definitely not to the PS2 golden era. But I can't really say much from personal experience because I'm gonna be honest, I dropped Madden for years at this point. Like, the only time I'd ever play Madden was if my brother had it on the 360, and ever since I moved to the Xbox One, I pretty much never touched a Madden in my life. Well, at least until recently. Thank you to the PS2 and Jake. But yeah, I don't know, the NFL was a very different time a decade ago. Dude, Aaron Rodgers, Gronk, JJ Watt, 99 overall club, that damn Odell catch cover. Yeah, what a time to be a football fan. I guess, I don't know, I wasn't too into football around this time, as I mentioned previously, but I bet the nostalgia goes crazy looking back. And now we are done with the gaming. we can now move on to the music section. Alright, the main meal is here. Some of my biggest musical releases and whatnot from a decade ago. Music, also the main content of this channel now. This one could be the longest section because it's simpler to get many thoughts on albums than to having to, you know, binge 12 episodes or play 10 hours of gameplay. So expect a good batch of stuff. For this video this year, it was a little different to how I approached it, because this year I tried to get a bunch of new albums down for this video, since, you know, I like doing that for the 2019 video, because also I didn't have much to say with albums I had listened to prior to that video being made. So there are going to be albums that might have never had a 10-year-old listen on the channel, but you'll be getting a ramble from both of these albums. The ones I've just heard, the ones I've already heard, and the ones that I unfortunately didn't get to but wanted to shout out here and there. So yeah, here are the new albums I've gotten around just for this video. First one, Everything, Get to Heaven. Oh, where's the... Did I listen to the regular version or the deluxe? Oh, they have an expanded 10th year anniversary one. Cool. The fuck, did I not save anything? Alright then. It's good, colorful, artistic, holy shit. It's some good, colorful, artistic rock, you know, or also a pop album. I mean, look at the album cover. That's sick. I mean, it is the first album I've heard from the band. It makes you want to rock out, dance in the night, and get the queen. If only she were here to listen to this album again. Rest in peace, sweetheart. Yeah, lots of commentary about his feelings of society as well as his home country. And looking deeper into it, he has a get angry attitude. As well as using Yeezus as a prime inspiration for the creative process. What the hell? That's sick. If you haven't listened to it, apparently they have a 10-year anniversary version, so who knows? Maybe give it a shot if you want. Jeff Rosenstock, we cool? You know, I've dabbled in some Rosenstock before, hearing Hell Mode a while back. Apparently I might need to take a re-listen again, as I don't have a damn song saved, probably because I didn't have a new rock playlist up yet, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, so it was interesting to see what he had installed years earlier before Hell Mode, and rockin' since. If you know anything about those two, yeah, that's an instant hooker. I don't know if hooker is the right word, but instantly hooked. It's as chaotic and punk as ever, and a little bit emo. Hey Allison, hey Allison, listen, hey Allison. Yeah, it's brash with an existential crisis. To be honest, if the rest of his discography, and possibly as well as his upcoming album, are as good as this and Hell Mode, Jeff might become a favorite of mine. Dogger, Barter 6. My favorite Thug album for a while has been So Much Fun. I loved Jeffrey, I liked Business is Business, but I was finally able to see why people include this into their best Thugger projects. Pussy, you know what? Holding their nuts, masturbating on you. Oh yeah, baby. That is a bar. With that is also a banger. Can't Tell is a banger. I put that crack in my crack. I nut on that fish on my sofa. I really wish I was able to turn this into a video though. There are so many notable lines in this goddamn project. Also, OD has one of the most sentimental Thug songs I think I've ever heard, which is crazy. And he also came off guns blasting on the closer track. Holy shit, that flow is so punchy. To be honest, I might have been sleeping on this album. I really enjoyed it way more than I really expected. While the production isn't as creative as other projects, Thugger's personality is still present, plus the lyrics are some of the most Young Thug lyrics anyone's ever fucking heard. I definitely need to listen to So Much Fun and Jeffrey again, because it's definitely up there. And yes, by the way, as of this recording, I have not listened to UI Scooty. I have listened to the intro track, and that's all I'm gonna say. Oh, it's not here anymore. Yes, I have heard the intro track, and that's all I'm gonna say. Beach House, Depression Cherry. Okay, first Beach House album. Here we go. I'm telling y'all, my bag is not that deep. This album starts off as strong as can possibly be, containing the biggest Beach House song ever, Space Song, which is so good and so ethereal, by the way. But that doesn't mean it gets worse as the album goes on. Beyond Love right after is so hypnotic, it's great. 1037, Triple P, Bluebird, one of the best songs off this album, by the way. This is a really really great ambient ethereal pop record, one of the best records I've heard from this year. Yeah, this whole album put me into a different trance while experiencing it. Shout out to cherries though, a really great fruit. And not the only album involving cherries you'll see on this list. Lupe Fiasco, Tetsuo and Youth. So I finally tapped into a Lupe album last year with Samurai, a really good album by the way. So I see he had an album drop in 2015. And I heard it's one of his best. And wow, he really wasn't playing games, starting off with an 8-minute behemoth in Mural. A song packed with so much lyrics, I don't think I have the time to gloss over here. In fact, there is so much to unpack here that I'm not sure I'm ready to do so yet. Very conceptual, and the production is so blissful under Lupe's flow. And Lupe had a lot in the tank. Multiple multi-minute songs like Prisoner 1 and 2 that talks about the jail system and Lupe being trapped in his record deal. While I think Chopper is a banger, I don't know if it's a posse cut I can fully digest all 9 minutes of. But yeah, but overall this is a hefty record that could take a few re-listens to fully comprehend. But like I said, as big as the project is, it's just as ambitious. And I gotta give Lupe his flowers for that. Love is Rage, the first one. Yeah, crazy how I never really went back this deep for Uzi, but that changed this year. This is Uzi's mixtape debut, according to Spotify and other streaming services, I'm assuming. Honestly, not the craziest. They would go out to make much more impactful music in just the next year, so yeah, there's some highlights here, but overall, yeah, not Uzi's best, personally, and Uzi would definitely I guess evolve from here. I guess just making better projects. Of course, recently we've been in a slump, but who knows? Maybe Uzi could come back. That's all we hope for. That's all we pray for. But that's up to Uzi. Nujabes, I think that's how you say it. Lovesick Hexology. I've heard about Nujabes consistently, and I thought this year changes the fact that I never had a Nujabes album under my belt. It changed this year. But technically this really isn't an official album. It's more of a compilation, as I found out when listening and looking more into Nujabes. You know, considering that he died 5 years before this even came out. I mean, the first track dates all the way back to 2001, and I guess the rest are samples found from Nujabes'. Nujabes is the producer, by the way. The rapper is Shing02. These were found from Nujabes' phone. A lot of boom bap, a lot of lo-fi in his beats. It's a very interesting compilation, as it technically does have a linear tracking, as all of these songs are all broken into 6 different parts, the last being this grand finale. Oh, but part 4 is actually so good though. It's a 6-part story about, you guessed it, love, but also life and death, as the passing of Nujabes definitely had an impact, especially when it comes to the creative process of this album. But the way the instrumentals are curated, it feels so soothing and comforting. The rest of this compilation includes remixes and instrumentals of the already existing songs, as well as a track called Perfect Circle, which is pretty beautiful. But do not sleep on the remixes, actually. While I've never been too keen on remixes, they're kind of done in a way that I can appreciate them over the other, I guess. I don't know, some remixes out there completely devolves itself from the original, and it makes me stick with the original more. These remixes feel like letting other producers have a hand in it and seeing what hypothetical mixing of different styles would be like between them. I don't know, I guess that might be my thought process in appreciating these remixes, rather than being like, oh, this sounds nothing like the original. I don't care. Yeah, but honestly, this is a really thoughtful and emotional project. Compilation albums don't really have to be as carefully curated like this, and we all know how risky posthumous releases can be, but I feel like this is another example of both working well for everyone. While this is my first introduction to Nujabes, and you know, this probably wouldn't be everyone's first choice to get into his music, I'm definitely excited to check out more of his earlier work from when he was still here. But yeah, rest in peace to the man, rest in peace to Nujabes, and yeah, shout out to Shingo2's rapping. Voldikura, finally listen to Bjork. Yeah, this project is really emotional too. All I really knew about Bjork is that she had pop elements, but I didn't know this album was going to be a slow, cinematic, ambient side to her music projects. I honestly don't know if her other works sound like this, but for the slower tempo, it's hard hitting with the lyrics. And Bjork lets you know about the lyrics with the lengthy runtimes. You know, songs revolving around her relationship a couple years prior, the need for love, family, healing. Like I said, it's a very emotional expression. But yeah, shout out to Bjork. Nine songs, but an hour long. Yeah, as you can see, there's a whole 10-minute track here from Bjork, and it's great. Shout out to Bjork. Mac Miller, Good AM. As you may or may not know, I have dove into the Mac Miller discography since the estate released the Balloonerism album earlier this year. I had this whole idea where I was gonna go through Mac Miller's whole discography, kind of like what I did with Weezer, but I have other plans in mind. So basically, I just decided to just listen to a lot of Mac Miller's biggest albums on my own to help me prepare for the Balloonerism album. And while I probably didn't need to do that because Balloonerism dates back all the way to the Faces era, it was just a nice way to finally get some Mac Miller underneath my belt, you know, have it be under my albums listen, because Mac Miller is definitely someone I've heard of for a long time, but I just never really got around to getting into. That changed this year when I dove into all of those albums beforehand, Faces, Divine Feminine, watching movies with the sound off, all of that. And this one, Good AM, which released a decade ago. I think the estate also released a 10-year anniversary thing as well, so, you know, shout out to that. But yeah, when I was listening to this album, there's a lot of those unfortunate lines when it comes to hearing them retrospectively. You know, mentions of the 27 Club, wanting to grow up old and rich, the world don't give a fuck about your loneliness. Mac really was a troubled soul. You know, but hey, you know, let him say one more thing, Josh. Yeah, the grandkid line, excuse my nostalgia, time flies, man, shit, this is a revolution. Yeah, it's another Mac Miller album that raps about his problems, his life aspirations, the success he's obtained at this point in said album, relationships, of course. But that sense of confidence on Break the Law was energetic. And Godspeed, wow. Of course, the sound is more grounded, way less experimental than the two albums he released prior to this, and it also dives more into the trap area, especially with the harshness of When in Rome. Holy, yeah, we are in the 2000s for sure. Okay, but why does that Chief Keef verse on Cut the Check kinda go hard? Like, the song overall is okay, but Keef really locked in when it was time to do more than just ad-libs. Also, ROS, Rain or Shine, oh my god, it is so beautiful. It's actually one of my favorites off the album. It is so beautiful. But yeah, so far, everything I've heard from Mac has been amazing. And by the way, I haven't even listened to an album like Circles yet, which I will probably get back to in the 2020 video, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I've talked a lot about Mac this year, and, you know, deservedly so. And Blur, the Magic Whip, you know, the Song 2 guy, the Gorillaz guy. I just wanted to see what rock legend Damon Albarn had in store a decade ago, and it's pretty good. My Terracotta Heart, jeez. That song had some band member lore. There are some tracks here that have this summer or beach feel to it, but also some emotionally set tunes. Also references to Asian countries, as the album title refers to a Chinese firecracker and not just ice cream. And there's also a song literally titled Pyongyang in here. So, yeah, apparently this is a comeback album for the band, you know, and sounds like they stuck the landing. Not the last I'll see of Mr. Albarn, I'll just let you know that. And now we will go into the albums that I've been listening to or have a video on. Of course, a lot of big names, so let's brush up on them. But I will say, if I have made a video on it, don't expect to hear a super in-depth conversation, especially when it comes to comparison to the previous subsection, because, you know, you can just watch their own separate videos on this very channel. Subscribe. Anyway, let's get into one. Ghost, Meliora. Okay, this one didn't get a video on it, but I did listen to this album prior to the making of this video. I don't know, Spotify says it released in 2014, and the deluxe over here says it released in 2016. But who cares what Spotify says? This definitely was a 2015 album. For those who don't know, Ghost is a Swedish metal band that I thought was around way longer than I expected. I thought they were around for at least the 90s. No, they've only been here since like 2006. You know, a word used to describe Ghost's aesthetic is occult. A certain Dan character would probably fuck with Ghost. And it's not like it's an inaccurate description. I mean, the first song is this decently sized synth metal song titled Spirit. But yeah, there's a lot of riffs in here that take inspiration from rock and metal's past. You know, Zeppelin, Slayer, Ozzy. It's doom, dark, and poppy. If you couldn't tell by the way they look, there's a lot of religious imagery and references. I mean, series? Let's just say series. Is literally Old English for church, and it's about religious manipulation under the cloak of a love song. Like, what? I don't know why they think this band could be satanic. Oh, also there's a song called Devil Church. Nope, I can't see the connection at all. Boo! Satanic Panic! Boo! Yeah, from what I've heard from them, they're cool. The middle point hasn't really been jaw-dropping for me. The riffs are fun though. They're not super heavy, but it's not straight up pop music if you even cared about that. I do like the dark musical lines throughout the album. It gives a spooky feel that very much matches the tone of the album cover. It also gives off a feeling of looking at those huge biblical paintings from a European church. So yeah, that's all I really gotta say about that one. No, I don't want to do this cover. Here we go! Tyler the Creator, Cherry Bomb. Yeah, this one I've had a video on, so I won't go too crazy on it, but I don't think it's the worst Tyler album. But I do think it's more of a transitional period that will lead us to the Tyler we have today. You know, I guess with songs like Two Seater or fucking Smuckers, fucking Young. A lot of this, I feel like, would be the foundation or the bridge that would set us up to see albums like Flower Boy and Igor and whatnot. But yes, I really do not think that this is the worst Tyler the Creator album. But that being said, something has to be on the bottom, right? So it probably would be Goblin for me. Sorry, this is Tyler's been able to, you know, evolve so much more since then, since it's more like fuck everything attitude. It's just something just has to be at the bottom eventually. But yeah, still full of bangers, by the way. Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. Possibly one of the best albums of this year. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you even have it as your album of the year. The jazz instrumentals, Kendrick's songwriting and sequencing, fucking alright. Yeah, there's a reason my video on it is an hour and a half long. Obviously, I don't want to reiterate everything or else this video will be 3 hours as well. I mean, the recordings has been God knows how long. It's been way too long, but I've just had a lot to ramble about this time around. Who would have guessed? But yes, I love this album. I love it a lot. There's a lot of intricacies and songwriting layers that you can possibly gain and grab and have a conversation about. But I'll leave that to my video about it. Very great, very huge, very impactful, and an important album. Drake. Well then, if you're reading this, it's too late. Yeah, this is peak Drake. This is peak music. We need him locked in like this again. Hey, maybe we see that with Iceman. I don't know, maybe we don't. Either way, this technically mixtape should be kept in high regard to a standard with Drake. But what do I know? I'm not the biggest Drake fan in 2025. I mean, I fucked with Fat D. And I do think Nothing Was the Same is a close second on my Drake list. But when you've reached the highs and success he has, does he really need to create the best music at this point? Unfortunately, no. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. I like this album. I liked it a lot. And Drake's still out there on the music scene. Who knows? Maybe he could make something that's better than this sometime in the future. Who knows? Who knows? The Weeknd, Beauty Behind the Madness. It's not my favorite Weeknd project, but you can't lie. He had huge hits and singles coming from this album. Earned It, Can't Feel My Face, The Hills. Yeah, this was when you really started to hear about Abel's musical output. Jesus Christ. Nearly 3 billion streams. 2 billion, 1 billion, almost 2 billion. Jesus Christ, man. I Don't Like Shit. I Don't Go Outside. An album by Earl Sweatshirt. This album is one of the most depressive expressions of their mental state, and it is crazy how much has changed since then. Like, really, listen to this album and then listen to how he sounds like on his latest project. His voice still sounds the same, of course, but the tone in his voice, the instrumentation, the freaking album titles are almost a complete contrast from each other. And that's a very good thing for Earl. Like, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside is still a great album, don't get me wrong. But being aware of this album and the Earl now is really endearing in a way. Almost inspirational. But yes, Wool featuring Vince Staples is still a fucking banger. Speaking of Vince staples, we have Summertime '06. This album included one of his biggest songs in North North, but also a very dark album, which makes sense considering Vince's story and what he had planned to write about. But it's crazy because he had also changed since this album stylistically. His 2024 album Dark Times, which was my album of the year, it would showcase it in another haunting yet uplifting way. But it's been years since that whole North North lady fiasco. Hopefully she's doing well, but man, what a debut album. Vince has really been doing it for a while, and he's really been one of my favorites. Future, DS2, and I'll also put in 56 Nights here because that was also in the same year. I mean, dress it up and make it real for me. Whatever that fucking means. Dirty soda in a styrofoam. Spend a day to get my mind blown. We're balling like the March Madness. I just come shooting tragic. Look, I'm playing for the Mavericks. In the cup. I mean, what else do you need to say? Future in 2015 was a different breed. Future, like another guy I will mention pretty soon, was on a roll during this year. This album and mixtape shows his insane work ethic. DS2 is probably a lot of people's go-to when it comes to the best Future project, and I mean, when you look at the track list, you definitely think so. Thought It Was a Drought, I Said the Bass, Stick Talk, Percocet and Stripper Joint, Fuck Up Some Commas. What the fuck? Holy shit, what the fuck is this? Yeah, I haven't really listened to the deluxe version apparently. Anyway, 56 Nights, a mixtape that also had its share of hits. Never Gonna Lose, Diamonds from Africa, 56 Nights, March Madness. Also, the beat on No Compadre is freaking insane. Both iconic projects, both showcase a peak for Future and impactful trap for the time. Are these my personal favorite Future tracks? It still might go to Monster, but a project like DS2 will pretty much always enter these types of conversations. But yes, Future was not done yet because we would have also What a Time to Be Alive with Drake. Okay, so Future, Drake, collaborating together. Something that hasn't really happened in recent times, but hey, you never know. Also, don't forget that Metro Boomin was heavily involved in the production. But it would only make sense that these two would come together at arguably both of their commercial pinnacles. Which is funny too, because it was actually a surprise drop. I mean, just look at the track list. Big Rings, Jumpman, Jumpman, Jumpman. I mean, how many NBA edits and highlight reels have been surrounded by these two songs? Franchise Tag on Me, Bron Bron, Steph Curry Wrist, Oakland. I mean, how many hype-inducing bangers are there on this album? With Drake and Future, they do have the melodic tracks as well. Both of them fit those sectors multiple times over. And look, 11 songs, 40 minutes. Almost every song has both of them throughout the album. I remember another collab project, Her Loss, came out, and a lot of people noticed how little 21 Savage was included in comparison to Drake. But hey, if the spacing is weird, then adjust the lineup, I guess. But the Drake collab project comparisons can be another time. I did like Her Loss, by the way. It's really just funny how Her Loss had more songs, yet less of Drake's collaborator. Let's just skip over some sexy songs for you, okay? It might not be my favorite collab project ever, but at its highest musical moments, it has been one of those stars aligning, combining of voices project that has shook the landscape of mainstream trap for years. And with many Drake Future collaboration songs since. Joey Badass, B4, DA, Money Sign, Money Sign. I didn't get a video on this one either. Joey Badmon, a very talented, notable rapper for quite some time now. After dropping one of his best projects at just 17 years old with 1999, and he really has had a streak of great drops since. Badass marks his debut studio album, and with an hour and change length, pretty much like his 1999 tape, comes out strong and swinging. That jazzy hip-hop intro track, Save the Children, that uneasy piano and Big Dusty, what's my name, Badman? What's my name, Badman? Till we fly, man, you gonna miss us when we fly, man. Don't mourn me when I'm gone, celebrate my travels. Man, that's from On and On. Escape 120 has a cool beat, but I think a track later on kind of does it better. Black Beatles, not the only song of the same title. Also the childhood reminiscing song OCB. Even the bonus tracks are pretty decent. Hello Action Bronson. And then the fun Teach Me. This is a track that I think is a better version of Escape 120. The performance feels more lively here, and the jazz drumming combo, woo! Yeah, I know it's not the official closer, but man, does it end the album on an energetic note. Yeah, but re-listening to this album in preparation for this video, I was liking it a lot. Remember, Joey was only 19 here. Brother was moving like young Tatum in the goddamn booth. Like, what the fuck was I even doing at 19, bro? Some people are just locked in like that. By the way, the title track doesn't just mean badass. It does have another meaning, which I didn't even notice the before the money. Before the money. I really didn't give it too much thought until I saw like a Genius annotation about it. But also the album mentions it throughout the album. In Paper Trails, he literally says before the money. I mean, the dollar sign, hello? Yeah, it definitely slipped through my smooth brain on first listen, but I got it now. Thanks, Genius. Yeah, Joey really is one of the best among the East Coast. The hunger he had, or also still has to a certain extent, it really shines through here. And I mean, that's something a teenager wanting to prove themselves would have in spades. So, you know, shout out to Joey. He also released a new album this year. Lonely at the Top. I guess so. 32 Zell, Denzel Curry, the oldest project on Zell's Spotify, and it shows the banging potential Denzel had and has at the time. You know, having his biggest song, Ultimate, although a remix version with Juicy J on it, which is cool, but I prefer the single solo version. But as a Denzel Curry fan, if you only know Ultimate from him, you need to dig deeper. You really do need to dig deeper. He has bangers upon bangers, as well as some very emotional tracks. But then again, I am a huge Zell fan. Yeah, it's a very short project, but it keeps going up from here on out. At long last, ASAP from ASAP Rocky. I also have a video. I have a video on this, so I'll try to keep it brief. But yeah, it's quite long-winded. It's a very reflective it's a very reflective type of album. It was good for what it was. Obviously, I do like a lot of songs on here, and there are some bangers on here, like Lloyd Pretty Flacco Jordy 2, fucking LSD, Jukebox Joints, Every Day. So there's still a lot to be happy in this album, and I am happy with a lot of the tracks here. I think it's still a fine Rocky project. I don't know if it's my favorite one, but it's, you know, it's still good for what it was. A lot of emotional concepts around here. Tame Impala, Currents, a video that I recorded a long time ago listening to, but I just uploaded it recently, and as you can tell, I freaking love it. Obviously, with some of the biggest songs ever, Let It Happen, The Less I Know The Better, both iconic, both bangers, still bumping till this day. Still, there's a lot other things to be liking through this album. It's very psychedelic, as you can tell by the album cover. A lot of cool, fun, groovy rock tunes. For finally getting to listen to this album front to back, I think it was a really fun experience, and I liked it a lot. I know Tame also has released an album in 2020, so I'll probably get back to that eventually. But yeah, for an album that released around a little over 10 years ago, man, it's still full of great songs till this day. And I guess to end off on the albums that I have listened to or will make a video on, I haven't uploaded it yet, but it will be uploaded before this video comes out. Travis Scott, Rodeo. Holy. Okay, so one of the biggest trap albums of this decade, and possibly one of the best albums of this decade, and also possibly Travis Scott's best album. And I mean, looking at this track list, who wouldn't agree? I mean, it's very concise. You can definitely tell the type of narrative Travis has throughout the album, and all of these dreamlike sequences and changes throughout the album with the songs, and even within the songs, because, you know, Oh My This Side is technically two tracks. Yeah, there's just a lot to unpack here, and especially instrumental wise, because my god, there's so much trippiness and ear candy sprinkled heavily within this album that you just gotta appreciate. And it's not to say like Travis Scott is being heavily carried by the beats. He does have some form of lyrical substance on here, especially with songs like 90210 or Maria I'm Drunk. And he also brings the energy on songs like Piss on Your Grave, Nightcrawler, I Can Tell, Apple Pie, Okay Alright. And Okay Alright and Never Catch Me are actually bonus tracks too, or extended tracks. So yeah, I'll say more in my video that I haven't uploaded as I'm recording this, but will be uploaded before this video out. This is a very convoluted timeline. Anyway, if you've seen that video, you know I do like this album a lot. I do have some grievances and a little bit of a hot take when it comes to 90210, but overall, I think it's a very, very great album and one that should definitely be showcased when it comes to this year and possibly even the decade. Okay, that's enough of ramblings of albums that I have listened to. I guess we can now mention a bunch of albums that I actually was planning on talking about, but I never really got around to listening to. I might plan to listen to them after this video, or, you know, maybe off camera, but I'll give them a shout because they seem to be like notable nominees. The Undertale soundtrack. You know, I already mentioned that prior. Bring Me the Horizon, that's the spirit. I mean, I haven't listened to it fully. I have listened to a couple of Bring Me the Horizon albums, but obviously there's Happy Song. I know that one. Throne, I know Throne. But if you sing along, a little get louder than Happy Song. From freaking, I think it was 22. I think it was WWE 2K22. But then again, like, I think Throne is even a WWE theme song for a bit on one of the NXT takeovers. I definitely did dabble in Bring Me the Horizon a little bit when it came to their big songs around this time. Post-Human Survival Horror, which was also in 2020, but we can leave that for another time. Fall Out Boy, American Beauty, American Psycho. As you can see, I think, you know, maybe I have listened to this fully, but I don't remember. But I can't really say I have listened to this super fully, but obviously there's a ton of songs here that I do know. Irresistible, American Beauty, American Psycho, Century was a fucking banger back in the day. Uma Thurman, Immortals, fucking Big Hero 6, dude. I can't say I've listened to all of this front to back, but I've definitely taken out a bunch of these songs. Holy, a lot. Is that one song not on here? Was that on Safe Rock and Roll? I don't know. Me and my buddy used to be huge Fall Out Boy connoisseurs back in the day. I mean, I still kind of am, just not as much, because I mean, it's Fall Out Boy, bro. Blurry Face, 21 Pilots. Speaking of songs that I knew of back in the day, I mean, Heavy Dirty Soul, I think that was also on 2K16. So, yeah, that one was sick. Stressed Out, of course. Ride, Tearing My Heart. A lot of these I do know of. I don't have an experience listening to this front to back, but, I mean, you really couldn't escape 21 Pilots back in the day. I mean, still you probably can't, but like, you know, as someone who was growing up around this time and, you know, those crucial growing up years, yeah, 21 Pilots was a very, very huge part of that lifestyle, I guess. You definitely had to have known a 21 Pilots fan at that time. And that's not to say they've fallen off or anything, it's just that they were freaking huge, man. They were freaking huge. And I know 21 Pilots has been requested for the Garroott Friendly Request, also known as the greatest fucking series on Earth. But we'll get to that eventually, man. This holy shit, this ramble is going on. Kamasi Washington, the epic. I actually listened to what was the album called? Fearless Movement last year. It was pretty good. And this one, I mean, considering the album title, my god, it is going to be a long listen. Multiple 10-minute tracks. So yeah, if I do need to dive into this, it will be off camera because I do not want to listen to a 2-hour, nearly 3-hour album on camera. But I'm sure a lot of people have been saying that this album is pretty good, and I'll take their word for it for now, but I would like to eventually experience it myself, but on my own time, please. Shrem Life, Ray Shremmerd, I only know it because, you know, Black Beatles. That girl is a real crowd, please. Yeah, you remember that song? Of course you fucking do, but The Internet, Ego Death, since, you know, I do like Steve Lacy. I did like The Internet's album, Hive Mind, but I haven't listened to this album specifically. Who knows? Maybe there's a bunch of cool tracks on here. You know, I have heard that The Internet is coming back soon with another album, which is great because I did like Hive Mind, and you know, Steve Lacy's a really great artist, and yeah, I kind of want to see what this album is about, maybe eventually. But so what I've heard so far, and it's only been one album from The Internet, I really like. So who knows? All right, I'm getting really tired, and my god, I have been rambling for like 2 hours straight, so I am going to kind of like go a little bit faster with this, so sorry if I don't give too much thought about it. I've been rambling for too long. God knows what happens when I get to the 2020 video, because my god, I might have to start like shorting my mentions again, because my god, this will get freaking long. FKA Twigs, M3LL, Carly Rae Jepsen apparently made a good album called Emotion. I don't know. Daniel Caesar, Pilgrim's Paradise, yeah. Jamie XX Color, I want to mention this one actually because In Color, because there's actually a song that I really like here that was in one of the old 2Ks that I would play a lot. You'll probably know it once you hear it. Good times, I know there's gonna be. Also, I had no idea Young Thug was on this song. You just learn new stuff every day once you're researching for a video. But yes, this song was in 2K 17? I'm pretty sure it's 17, but yeah, you would definitely hear this song a lot on that 2K, and I'm not saying it's a bad song, it's a really great song, but holy, this does bring back memories. I didn't even know it was on this album that released in 2015, so shout out to Jamie, Jaime, hopefully, I don't know how you freaking pronounce it, I'm too tired for this. Billy Woods, Wrong Nothing, Iron Maiden, Book of Souls. Yeah, Iron Maiden dropped in 2015 too. Dr. Dre dropped in 2015 with Compton, Thundercat, Beyond. Also, Speeding Bullet to Heaven was released in 2015, by the way. Look at that! December 4th, 2015. A Christmas Treat! Yay! Muse, Drones. I really only know it from... What is it? What is the song? Is this song not on here? Okay, well, I know Psycho, actually, because I have it fucking saved. The fuck? Where's that? Hysteria. Is Hysteria not on this album? Oh, it's not. Oh, it's on Absolution. Oh, okay, never mind. Muse, man. Car Seat Headrest also released an album prior to Teens of Denial with Teens of Style. Gee, maybe there might be a connection between the two. Maybe I already knew that. But I did like Teens of Denial. It is a really great album that maybe I'll mention next year for the 2016 video. But yeah, shout out to Car Seat Headrest. I do need to get more into them. But yes, shout out to Teens of Denial. I guess shout out to Teens of Style too, since technically we are here to talk about 2015 shit. But who knows? Maybe I should listen to it eventually to get the possible connections. Teenagers, take off your Gee, what a freaking title. You know, Miley Cyrus released, Justin Bieber released, apparently the Hamilton soundtrack released this year. You know, a lot of stuff happening this year. But yes, that was my little rundown of other albums that I unfortunately didn't get to go through. Just wanted to give them a little shout here and there. And you know, can't forget some radio popular singles around the time. Unless you wanted to forget these songs, then my bad, but I'll show you some examples. I mean, Kanye was popping in for a bit before that whole Life of Pablo stuff. All Day, banger, with a Paul McCartney cameo. For 5 seconds with Rihanna, and also another Paul McCartney cameo. Hello, Adele. Trap Queen. Yeah, Trap Queen. We love Trap Queen, don't we? Remy. Boys. Yeah. 1738. Hey. I'm like, hey, what's up, hello? Sit your pretty ass soon as you see my Trap Queen. Let her hit the bando, and I get high with my baby. I'll just let the mom get in fly. Jesus Christ. Holy. Drake again. Back to back. And Hotline Bling actually released in 2015 as well. You used to call me on my cell phone late night when you need my love. Ever since I left the city, you hanging with some girls I never seen before. Late night when you need my love. I know when that Hotline Bling. Sorry. Actually, wasn't this an emote in Black Ops 3? You know, going back to Black Ops 3, you remember when you had like the top 3 players and you could do emotes on there? I'm pretty sure there was a Hotline Bling emote. Bitch down. Bitch down. Now watch me whip. Now watch me okay. I know when that Hotline Bling. Yes, my friends, you can now. Shut up, T-Moin. Alright. Yeah. 2015, man. Welcome to it. Well, this was added in 2016, but anyway, Yeah, fun times. You know, since we're here, I want to play Ultimate. Ronnie J. I am the one, the way in time, don't need a gun to get respect up on the street. By any means, your enemies, my enemies will wet them up like a canteen. Ultimate, alternate, you are the opposite, stop the shit, stop your esophagus. Bitch, I am ultimate, behold my awesomeness, narcissist, part-time and awesomeness. Ultimate, infinite, flow is opium, open the internet. Opium? Narcissist? I mean, come on, Curry was on it way before Cardi. Alright, anyway, let's continue with these singles. See You Again, one of the biggest songs of the year, especially in conjunction with the surroundings of the events of the Fast 7 production, like I mentioned earlier. Charlie Puth's memorable chorus and piano line. Also, I don't know if you've heard it on the radio recently, but now they play a version where it's just Charlie Puth. Like, did something happen with the Wiz Khalifa version, or am I missing something? I don't know. There's a separate version where it's just Charlie Puth on it.
33 Chance the Rapper with Angels, 32 Weezer with Do You Want to Get High.
What? Oh wow, November 3rd, 2015. Well, these guys always find a way to sneak into these videos. We can save that for the White Album for 2016. There's probably way more I can name, some I even mentioned all the way in the intro. But if you wanted more examples, you can just look at the Billboard Hot 100. And even still, the 2015 one I saw on Wikipedia had songs from 2014, unsurprisingly. So I'd rather leave that be for now. But if you had the radio on, or worked in a retail store at the time, you can probably regurgitate the type of songs you heard on the speakers. For better, or for worse. Alright, yeah, but that was my little... No, not little. That was my pretty large, reoccurring spiel of great, sometimes not so great, media a decade ago. I put in my notes here that I said that eventually, if this series continues, then we're probably gonna have more and more to talk about. I don't know. This ramble was already long for 2015 because, you know, I actually put a decent amount of research into finding stuff that did release this year, so it wasn't super short. But considering that I researched too much and probably flew way too close to the sun, who knows? Maybe we might even limit the amount of things I might talk about for the 2020 video. That just might be up in the air, because my god. But who's not to say there's still a lot of stuff to talk about for 2020. But yeah, I mean, still, stuff really doesn't start to get wacky until I reach high school. So I mean, we're 2016, we'll get to that. Well, then again, my high school life wasn't really super interesting to begin with. Like, even here on my notes, I mentioned that as of writing it, that this video could be super lengthy. Yeah, it's super lengthy, my guy. Maybe we might need to limit ourselves. But then again, it's been a while since I've done a ramble on a topic like this. But hopefully you appreciated me dumping my thoughts onto your fine china. Expect the 5-year follow-up quite soon. I don't know though. You saw how long it took to prepare this video. Then again, like, god damn. Hopefully that 2020 video does get out sometime soon. And if you have a slight clue about 2020, God help us all. Alright, anyway, with that being said, thank you for watching another year retrospective ramble in the books. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. Watch my other year retrospective videos if you want to. Watch my non-year retrospective other rambles if you want to. It's up to you, man. I don't know how long this video is gonna be once I finish all the editing and whatnot, but let me just tell you, this video is probably gonna be super lengthy, and I don't know if I want to do it again. I don't know if I want to do it in this format again. Maybe I will. Like I said, I will probably have to not do all of those mentions again, because my god, this is gonna be a super long video. I just know it. I thought I wouldn't have a lot to talk about in 2015, because 2015 was not an eventful year for me, but once you look more into it, and once you start living more of life, you're very wrong. You're very wrong. God help me for the 2020 video if I do it in the same format. I don't expect to, because that was a lot. That really was a lot. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Because 2020 definitely is a very, very, very crazy year. I'll give you that. But 2015 was a handful that I didn't even know or didn't even notice until now. But still, hopefully you've made it to the end. Hopefully you've got a little bit of a nostalgia burst. Hopefully you got a little bit of, you know, of a traumatic experience once I brought up the name of a certain piece of media. I don't know. That's what this is about, to just show you that time is flying by. time is flying by, and you need to start living life, because who knows when this end is worlding. Yeah, you can tell I'm kind of tired already. Who knows when the world ends? We'll never know, but hopefully you just start living life, or maybe even consume some of this media that you possibly haven't consumed, just like I have. Alright, I'm done. Subscribe. Thank you for listening to me for God knows how long. Please subscribe, then. That's all I ask for. And to like the video and comment. Yeah. Alright, I'm out, skis. Do you wanna get high? Do. We can eat at a restaurant and smoke a couple joints and fuck some Japanese women. I don't know. Rivers Cuomo 2015. Alright, bye.